Be warned, New York cab drivers. This is the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I'm Sean DeVos. That's Leah Merrill. Patrick Kane is a New York Ranger. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Leave us a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Like I said, Patrick Kane is a New York Ranger. And if you don't understand that reference, Google it. I'm not going to explain it. Welcome, Leah.
This is our second bet show together.
It is. Let's do that hockey.
And it's off the rails already.
It is off the rails already.
It was off the rails before we even went live.
You can't trade Patrick Kane to a city that's known above all else for their amount of cab drivers and not make a comment about it. I'm surprised. This is the first time I've heard anyone say anything about it, to be quite honest. It is the hockey goddess, Leah Merrill. And we're here to talk hockey. I can't do that myself because I'm not as smart as she is. It's been a fun week.
Fun, yeah, sure.
Everyone is everywhere all at once. Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, New York Rangers. Obviously, Jakob Chychrun, a Ottawa Senator. Shane Gostisbehere, a Carolina Hurricane, who are playing the Arizona Coyotes tonight. Jonathan Quick is a Columbus Blue Jacket. Nope, he is a Vegas Golden Knight. What other big ones am I missing?
I mean...
Ryan O'Reilly to Toronto.
Yeah, there's too many.
There was a lot.
I was starting to say them, and then I couldn't.
Those are like the big ones.
Max Domi to Dallas.
Yeah. So a lot of really good teams got a lot better, specifically in the Eastern Conference, which is a gauntlet. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but the Atlantic Division is maybe the greatest division in the history of organized sport. It's unbelievable. But in general, who do you think so far? There is still an hour, 55 minutes to be exact, left until the NHL Trade Deadline. But who has made the biggest improvement so far at the deadline?
It's hard to say biggest because there's so many teams that are so good.
Yeah, fair. It's hard for the Bruins to get much better.
Yeah, but I have to go right to the Atlantic because Boston did get better. Yeah. They added Tyler Bertuzzi, which Bertuzzi and Marchand together. Oh my God. You look at Toronto, Kyle Dubas went all in. You have to give him credit for that. They definitely got better in a lot of ways. And then Tampa, they always know what they're doing. They've made it to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row for a reason. So you have to, give them credit. You can never count them out. There's a few teams that maybe I expected to do a little more. Granted, there's still 55 minutes, so anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe I was more surprised by some lack of moves rather than moves because I think that the East definitely just stocked up. Yeah. And I'm like, the West, hello, who's home? Knock, knock.
Yeah, so who in particular are you surprised it didn't make any moves?
Well, Carolina I thought would make a bigger move than
Shane Gostisbehere.
I love Shane Gostisbehere, but they needed more help up front than that. Dallas, I'm glad they went for it with Max Domi because I feel like they could really make a run at the cup this year.
I mean, the West seems pretty wide open, and they're currently leading the West.
Colorado didn't do a whole lot.
Jack Johnson, I believe. Anybody else?
There was, there might have been one other small move.
Nothing significant.
Edmonton, obviously. Bukestad, they did make a big move at defense, so I have to give them credit for that. But it's just, the East just like sucked up everything. Yeah, the West was like left with the scraps. It was crazy.
Yeah, in particular, and obviously I'm a little biased, but the wild card race in the East is quite fascinating because you look around at some of the teams there. Ottawa, obviously on the bubble, traded for Jakob Chychrun. But the Washington Capitals are tied with the Ottawa Senators in points right now, but they seem to be selling. The Buffalo Sabres did nothing. The East is fascinating. Obviously, we're here in Arizona, so we have to briefly mention the Arizona Coyotes. Just in general, we're going to talk about, you're going to talk about it much more at 1:30, right? 1:30 on PHNX Coyotes, so stay locked in for that. But in general, how would you rate the Arizona Coyotes trade deadline up until this point? Again, there are now 53 minutes left until the NHL trade deadline.
They did I feel like they've done the most with what they can. I think a lot of fans were feeling disappointed based on the lack of big flashy returns. People expected more for Jakob Chychrun, maybe more for Gostisbehere. The truth is the Coyotes don't have a lot to work with. They're we've been saying it on our show, Bill Armstrong has one hand tied behind his back with money they can't take on and retain salary. So that kind of handicapped them a little bit. But given the circumstances, they still, if you look at all the teams in the league, they've made some of the most moves across the NHL, and they've stacked up on draft capital, continue to do so, which is what Bill Armstrong wants, which is what the purpose of this rebuild is. So from that point of view, I say they did pretty well, but you can't really grade how a team did until a year passes.
Yeah, very fair. Last thing before we get on to our actual picks, I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about it because I want to talk about it. What the Los Angeles Kings did to Jonathan Quick. Your thoughts on how that situation played out?
Well, you saw my face on our show because it happened.
To clarify, just basically out of nowhere, the Los Angeles Kings traded the best goalie in their franchise's history, one of the most important players to ever play for that team, to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are at the bottom of the league, out of nowhere, more or less. And based on all reports, nobody was happy about it. The people that are still on the Kings, Jonathan Quick was not happy about it. So yeah, thoughts on how that all played out?
Well, that was shocking. LA needing goaltending was something that's been talked about, so it wasn't so surprising that they made a move for a goalie and a move for Korpisalo. The shocking thing was that they gave up Jonathan Quick for it. He's clearly in the back nine of his career, if not further along than that. But Jonathan Quick, when you think of the dynasty, I guess, that was the LA Kings in the early 2010s, it's Quick, it's Kopitar, it's Doughty. I'm not going to say Justin Brown because I hate him. Sorry.
But I mean, they built a statue of that man, and you would have to assume that Jonathan Quick at least was on that trajectory.
Yes, absolutely. And he still is.
He still is, but it's really a question of now what does Jonathan Quick think of the Los Angeles Kings franchise?
But the thing is, he's been an LA King since day one. He's part of that dynasty. So to just kind of trade him in a shocking move.
And to the bottom of the league.
Like, if you're going to trade him to, like, the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's like, okay, at least, they're in the mix. It was shocking, and I'm glad that they ended up flipping him to Vegas. I didn't think... I've not talked to Jonathan Quick, so I don't know this, but I have to imagine he's a little bit happier. It's close.
He's back
LA,
in the West, back in the Pacific.
West, with a contending team. But I just never in a million years thought about Jonathan Quick as anything other than an LA King. Yeah,
and if he was going to be, I didn't think it would end like this. Do you think he can have a little bit of resurgence and actually help the Vegas Golden Knights?
I think what he can bring, too, is some veteran leadership to the goaltenders in Vegas, because with Robin Lehner out and Logan Thompson, a rookie, to have maybe Quick guiding Logan Thompson throughout this playoff run, I'm sure will be very, very valuable.
Yeah. It's going to be very fascinating to see. I hope that he is successful because I would love to see him. I would love to see the Golden Knights play the Kings in the playoffs and him just go nuclear.
That'd be wild.
It would be a whole lot of fun. And definitely will be even more fun when I'm betting on it. And when I'm betting on it.
The playoffs.
What's that?
Oh, can't wait to bet on the playoffs.
It's so much fun. Betting on goalie saves in the playoffs, I did it a bunch on Darcy Kemper for the Avs last year. It's electric. NHL playoffs are already the best form of playoffs in sports, in my opinion. You put money on it, it makes it that much more exciting. And if you're going to put money on it, you do it, of course, on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code word PHNX, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code word PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Like we said, or like I said, I guess, we have picks for you, futures. We're going to talk about who we think is going to win the Stanley Cup, all that kind of stuff. Let's get right into it. We'll start with you, Leah. But spoiler alert, ours are very similar.
Okay, I just want everybody to know that Shawn made his picks last night. We did not talk
about it at all.
I literally was eating breakfast. I pulled up DraftKings. I did some perusing. I sent in my picks, and they are almost the same. So
I responded, LMAO, fuck yeah, Leah.
So Atlantic Division as the winning division. And when you look at the Atlantic, they're just too stacked for me to say otherwise. I know that seems like the easiest pick. They have the highest odds and best odds to win. But you look at the division, you got Boston, you got Toronto, ridiculous. You got Tampa Bay. Like any three of those teams. Any of those teams could very, very easily, you wouldn't have to convince me any three of those teams can win the Stanley Cup.
You would have to convince me that the Toronto Maple Leafs made it past the first round. Well, otherwise.
But they're a Stanley Cup.
Listen, if they make it past the first round, then absolutely, because then all hell will break loose.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but it just in terms of if you're going to throw something at the wall and have one stick, you have the most to throw at the wall with the Atlantic Division.
Hit the broadside of a barn.
So I like them to win. Boston Bruins, again, this is plus 400. They have Is it best odds?
Yeah, they're the favorite. Yeah.
Okay, they're the favorite to win the cup. So it's kind of an easy pick. But you look at what they've done this season. They're having a historic year
it's
for
ridiculous.
their franchise or for the NHL. It's absolutely unbelievable. And we've seen teams win the President's Trophy and completely shit the bed in the playoffs.
Panthers.
But what Boston has that a lot of those teams don't is playoff experience, championship experience. You have Patrice Bergeron. You have David Pastrnak. Like, you have players.
Incredible goaltending.
Yeah, great goaltending. They have everything you need to win a cup and not fumble in the playoffs. So I know it's an easy pick, still plus 400, so you can get some good value on there. Boston Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. And then this makes Shawn very happy. Buffalo Sabres to make the playoffs plus 235. The wild card race in the East is fascinating if you just pull up the standings on NHL.com. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 team race for that wild card spots. It's fascinating. And what Buffalo has that some of the other teams don't in that group is games in hand. Mm-hmm. They have 1 game in hand over Pittsburgh, who currently is in that 1 spot right now with 71 points. But they're trying to pass the Islanders. It's a 4-point deficit right now, and the Islanders have played 4 more games than the Sabres. If the Sabres make the playoffs, sorry, Shawn, I don't think they're making it out of the first round. I think it would be a great Cinderella story. I'm not sitting here saying I 100% think it's going to happen, but if you want value at plus 235 for something that could be really, really fun, I like the Sabres to make the playoffs. And then lastly, Dallas Stars, Western Conference champs at plus 600. They're leading the conference right now, so it might seem like a bit of an easy pick. The thing is, there's favorites above them right now. And what I like about Dallas in this spot is they also, they have 62 games played right now, 79 points. And then you look at the teams behind them like LA, they have 63 games. So I just think Dallas has kind of been sneaky good. No one's really talked about them much. We always talk about Vegas. We always talk about Colorado, who's in 7th in the conference right now, but they're kind of storming up. I expect them to finish in the top 5 at least. But Dallas has kind of held on to that spot in the top for a long time without really getting talked about. So given that they're not the favorite, but they've held that spot all year, give me them to win the conference.
I like it. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's throw at my picks because they are damn near the same. Atlantic Division, like you said, and we talked about before the show, they have literally like every kind of team. They have the Boston Bruins, who are just historic. I mean, there's not much more to say about it than that. They have a historic franchise in their own right in the Toronto Maple Leafs with a massive chip on their shoulder, just trying to get past the first round. 3-time defending Eastern Conference champions in the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then the youngest team in hockey in the Buffalo Sabres, like Leah mentioned, would obviously be a Cinderella story. But just saying, they have 4 teams they have 3 really good teams.
Just made a trade, by the way. Jordan Greenway to the Sabres.
They did something. I'll take it.
And he's a good player.
Yeah, and they had traded for why am I forgetting his name? They had traded for a defenseman earlier in the year. So Jordan
Greenway to Buffalo. Is that what you came in here to tell us?
Craig just came in to break the news. But Jordan Greenway to Buffalo from Minnesota. Let's go. I'm just saying, bet now. That's why you can't waste time, because then teams make moves and the odds are going to change. Last night, the odds for the Buffalo Sabres, or as I like to call them, the Burrs. I'm making it a thing whether you like it or not. The Burrs last night, they were plus 165, I believe, to make the playoffs. Then they went on to lose to the Boston Bruins 7-1, and their odds shot up to plus 235. Odds can change like that, so make sure you're staying tapped in. But yeah, the Atlantic Division is wagon. We talked about it. I think it's an obvious choice for them to win the Stanley Cup. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, NHL champions. It's another team that got a little better at the trade deadline. But like I said, they've been to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row, and they have plus 12,000 odds. 1,200 odds. I mean, yeah. You're giving me that kind of value for a team like Tampa Bay.
You just can't bet against them. They've given us no reason.
They've given you every reason to bet on them. Yeah. They're the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's kind of like betting against Tom Brady and the Pats. I'm just not going to do it.
That's a good comparison.
I'm not going to do it. After that, Sabres make the playoffs. We talked about it. They made a move. They got better. Their schedule was very tough. And like I told Leah before the show, I did go into this looking for their odds not to make the playoffs because I thought it would be better value. But when you have a team like this that has the games in hand over a team in front of them like do over the Islanders, and you're giving me plus 235 odds, like Leah said, why not? And then lastly, Dallas Stars to win the West. The West is wide open. They have great goaltending. 2 goaltenders with sub-3 goals against averages. It's a solid team.
Adding Max Domi is a nice little offensive spark for them.
A team that got better. Yeah. And like I said, West is open. And right now they're playing the best hockey in the West. So you're going to give me plus money on all of this, I'm taking all of it.
Yeah, even if it's just $5.
Yeah, exactly.
We need bets.
That's how we make our money. But I think that's all we got. Is there anything else outside of the picks that we made? Any teams that you want to touch on or anything like that?
I mean, things are going to keep changing. So just have your DraftKings Sportsbook app open at all times. The trade deadline isn't over, as we just saw. So lock in the odds when you see them. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out, and especially how things shake out after the first round of the playoffs. It is a absolute disgrace that either Toronto or Tampa will be out after the first round. I don't like the way the playoff format is right now. Give me 1 through 8 back. I like that format.
I guess the Sabres are going to end up having to play the Bruins if they make the playoffs. I'm not excited about that, especially based off what happened last night. But yeah, the NHL playoffs are going to be electric, especially with all of these moves. And if you're trying to stay locked in on hockey, there's only one place to do it, and it's at PHNX_Coyotes. Like I said earlier, they're going to be live, or I guess we'll be live. I don't know. Sometimes I'm part of the team, sometimes I'm not. You got to ask.
You're always part of the team.
Yeah, okay. And then you forget my name when you talk about the team.
1:30 p.m.
1:30 p.m.
PHNX Sports YouTube.
Right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube.
Sometimes she doesn't say hi to you.
No, she doesn't sometimes.
Okay,
well, now she does.
This is now turning into a Shawn and Leah.
She learned. She understood. She adapted.
You only have to tell me once.
Yeah, she adapted to my needs, and I appreciate it. But yes, all things hockey, whether it's Coyotes or around the NHL. PHNX Coyotes is going to have it covered. So follow them. You can follow the show at PHNX_bets. You can follow Leah at Leah Merrill, the hockey goddess herself. You can follow me at Shawn_to-pause. But as Derek would say, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports. You can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Obviously, subscribe to our YouTube and become a diehard. We have some awesome shirts coming. We're going to have some awesome events coming up. I don't try to spoil anything, but if you become a diehard, there may or may not be something that we're putting together for the NHL draft. I'm just saying. But you got to be locked in for it. You're only going to know if you're a diehard. So make sure you go to gophnx.com, subscribe, you get a free t-shirt or a free hat when you sign up. You get access to our Discord, particularly the Coyotes Discord. It's a vibe in there.
It's popping at all times.
We have fun. We send gifts. What more could you ask for? So tap in. It's a great time to become part of the PHNX family. That's all we got. Until next time, we're live every Monday through Friday at noon. Shane will be back, so it'll probably be Shane and Johnny on Monday. But I enjoyed this week of hosting, and I enjoyed doing the show with you. Yes, I appreciate you. But until next time, in the wise words of Shane Diefenbach, wow, I morphed Bach and Locke. In the wise words of Shane Diefenbach, peace, love, and the Buffalo Sabres are a motherfucking wagon.